Special order calendar number 23. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 655, Local Government County Commissioner Elections District Voting. Favor report is amended and adopted.
Recognizing the maker of the order. Motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before we get started here, I'd like to, especially if bill drafting or amendments are watching this, we're still waiting for our amendments. I know that's hard to believe for a bill that we started working on Monday, but we still need one amendment. It got a little screwed up because when the committee adopted amendment taking Cecil County out of the bill, well, at that point, all the amendments needed to be redrafted. So we're still waiting for one amendment. We can continue along with this, Madam Speaker, because I think we do have a significant amount of amendments. And if that shows up, we'll just move it to the back. If you won't mind, can the floor leader please rise for a couple questions, and we can continue where we left off on Tuesday?
Sure. Good morning.
Okay, so where we left off on Tuesday, just to tell the members about this bill eliminates the countywide voting for counties that have election districts, correct? Like counties like mine, St. Mary's, we have 4 election districts, 1 at-large seat, and currently the voters in the county vote for all the commissioners. But with this bill, it passes into law, the citizens would only vote for the commissioners that were the district they live in, plus the at-large member, correct?
Delegate, picking up where we left off, representation matters. So whether a voter gets to vote for 10 at large, 3 at large, 2 at large, the point of the bill is that in-district voting should be in-district voting, and that those residents who are told that they live in a district, they should be the ones who elect their representation.
Okay, yep, I remember. And your opinion and the opinion of the committee that having out-of-district voting, like a county participating in an election that has district lines, that violates the Civil Rights Voting Act, correct?
It could possibly, yes.
Yeah. Okay, Madam Speaker, I got an amendment at the desk. Amendment 43226/1.
Amendment number 1.
Should be considered reading the amendment.
So ordered.
So when we're going back and forth, I think this bill is really about winning elections. Now, I was told that this bill was about fairness and dignity, and I was told it was about common sense. So we're going to see if the latter actually applies. This amendment I have...
from St. Mary's.
Sorry, I thought the clerk got it. 433-226/1. Four, 226. Got it? Got it. Awesome. I thought it was about fairness and dignity and common sense. This amendment, House Bill 655, should apply to the entire state in just about every election. So the amendment that I have at the desk draws in counties with their school board elections. Because if in-district voting we're saying that's right, then the entire state should participate in it. So what happens when you draw in school board districts? The counties that are affected read Calvert, Cecil, Garrett, Queen Anne's, St. Mary's, Somerset, Talbot, Worcester, and believe it or not, Montgomery County. Now, I was kind of surprised when I heard that the deep blue Montgomery County actually has the same exact elections that we have and the rules that we have in St. Mary's for their school boards. Currently, the school board members in Montgomery County, there's 8 members, 1 student member, 2 at-large members, and 5 members from inside districts voted on by the entire county. It's surprising that the last election, the woman running in District 2 actually got more votes than the person running at large. So if we're going to fix this, we need to fix this for everyone. everyone in the state. If this is truly a problem, and the problem is with the system, because I'm sure some of my colleagues are going to jump up and say, well, the school board races are nonpartisan. Well, I asked the question on Tuesday, was this a partisan bill? The answer was no. It doesn't make a difference that the races are nonpartisan. This is about election districts and votes occurring from across the entire county, when in the rules of the bill say it's going to be district only. So with that, I'd like to move the amendment. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the floor leader.
Madam Speaker, Delegate, this bill is about county commissioner elections at the county level. This bill is not about school board elections. And so I urge the body to resist this amendment, because this amendment is a completely different bill. This is something you're welcome to bring to our committee for us to discuss and consider. But given that I didn't receive any notice of this amendment, and the committee has done great work on this bill, I think that it's critical that we reject this amendment.
So you've had the copy of the amendment. It's in the floor system. We don't hand deliver amendments anymore because of COVID. And I mean, can I just ask a couple questions? If the problem is the system, and the system violates the Civil Rights Voting Act, and you told me on Tuesday that it dilutes the vote of minorities, why is it okay to have it in the school board races in Montgomery County, but not everywhere else in the state? I don't understand. That doesn't make logical sense.
Delegate, the problem is that you are bringing in a completely different body. This bill is about county districts. We are more
And I'm trying to amend the bill.
May I finish, Delegate? You are more than welcome to bring in legislation that we would consider, that I think we should consider if you bring in a bill on this topic. But this bill is about county commissioner districts. That is all that this bill has been about from the start and until now. So now you are bringing in a completely different body into this by amendment. That's why this body should reject this amendment.
You said that we should fix it across the entire state. That's what I'm doing. This is the process. My buddy that used to sit here, right here from Charles County, he once told me when we got here, our goal was to make bad bills better. I believe him. Now, I don't know if this is a bad bill, but you told me it was about fairness and dignity, and it should apply to everyone in the state. Everyone. And saying that some counties can violate the Civil Rights Voting Act while others can't, I don't understand where we're going with this. That doesn't make logical sense. We're trying to come up with a compromise on this bill, and if it applies to everyone, it should apply to everyone equally.
Would the floor leader yield for a second? To the gentleman's point, and I appreciate his point, I have a bill in drafting to do exactly this. It's only actually 3 counties. It's Montgomery, St. Mary's, Queen Anne's. I and many members of the Montgomery County delegation have been critics of the way we elect our school board for quite some time. So, that will be duly considered. It'll have a chance at a public hearing. I think, given that to the floor leader's point, that it applies to school boards, and it's a different beast than commissions, that there should be an independent hearing and the public should have a chance to weigh in. That bill's in drafting right now, and I would love to have the gentleman's support, given that it affects both of our counties.
Yeah, I'm sure, but that bill would have to come out through rules, and it wouldn't affect the other counties in the state. And we can do it right here on this bill right now with this amendment. So I'd ask the body to support this amendment. Apparently there's a bill, there's some agreement that if we're going to change this, everyone should apply to it equally. I think that's a reasonable, logical argument.
I appreciate it. Just to clarify, only these 3 counties have a system like this. There are other counties that have full at-large. So if you look at your amendment on the floor system, that's why there's only language related to Montgomery, St. Mary's, and Queen Anne's.
I've been told that
there are more counties that have full at-large voting districts, but not these types of residency districts. And I had that initial confusion.
Correct. And I read off the list of that. That was from DLS. That's not my own research.
I appreciate it.
Will the delegate from St. Mary's, yield for a question?
Yeah.
Thank you. So what you're trying to do is to conform this bill, House Bill 655, so that it truly represents all elected offices across the state. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is it also correct now, delegate, that in Montgomery County, of all places, they currently aren't following the very rule they're trying to impose on St. Mary's County. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is it also correct that we're hearing from the majority leader that suddenly they've found out that this is a new thing, they weren't aware of it, and they're trying to fix it, but they're trying to fix it after this bill passes, when in fact your amendment will fix it right now. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, sir.
Gentleman from Queen Anne's in the annex on this amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the amendment, I guess based on this bill that we're talking about, my county, I think I said this the other day, my county went through a referendum on this a few years ago. So on this bill, and I'm not speaking about the bill the other delegate was talking about coming forward maybe, you're asking my commissioners to be voted in district, but my school board can still remain at large. Is that correct? Floor leader, I'm sorry.
Delegate, once again, and for everyone in the body, this legislation came in as a county commissioner district bill. That is what we're dealing with on this bill.
With all due respect, my county went through this. We went through this challenge. We looked at it, we put it to the voters. You're changing that to say that I'm going to now have people able to vote for just 2 votes for commissioners, yet they're going to have five votes for the school board. And I'm going to have to explain that back in my district. I find the amendment to be a very good amendment. So I rise to support the amendment. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Gentleman from Caroline.
I just want to remind this body that a couple years ago, I know all of us weren't here, but we passed a sweeping school construction bill. I don't know if you all remember that. I served on the Knott Commission for almost 2 years, and it was a great compromise. It was an awesome compromise that we made. I was ready to vote for that bill, right? Do you all remember showing my frustration here on the floor? I was going to vote for that bill, and literally the very last minute, after all the public hearings, our committee offered an amendment that completely changed how funding is going to be done. It's going to go from the Board of Public Works to IAC. I couldn't vote for that bill at that point. That amendment completely changed that bill, and it had nothing to do with the intent of what we were trying to do for the last the 2 years prior to that. So we have a precedent already set forth by this body that we will take amendments that has little or nothing to do with the intent of the bill. However, this amendment has everything to do with it. As far as theme, has everything to do with it. If we're going to be consistent, let's treat our boards of education the same way we're going to treat our county commissioners.
Madam Speaker.
Recognize the gentleman from Frederick.
Will the floor leader rise for the 10th time? Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate.
Now, I appreciate your comments about the original bill. And, you're saying, look, this is a bill about county commissioners. But in reality, this is a bill about voter integrity. And in St. Mary's, I can't imagine that the General Assembly would expect voters in St. Mary's to vote one way for the county commissioners, but be exempted from voting the same way for school board members. It's the same ballot, it's the same voters, and more importantly, it deals with voter integrity for the same people. I would also say that public education is by far the biggest priority we have in the General Assembly. We've made that absolutely clear in nearly every bill that we pass. And in Frederick County specifically, the school board takes more than 50% of all local taxes, meaning the school board's priorities, you could argue, are almost greater than the county commissioners. Now, we have charter government, so it's county council, but the point is, school boards, you could argue, are just as important or more important than the other 49% of the business in a county. And the last point here is, and I can wait until you guys are done talking. Okay. The last point here is that if we are going to set an example for Marylanders on voter integrity, let's be consistent. Let's lead by example. Let's show Marylanders that we're going to step up. This is a great idea from the amendment maker. Let's be consistent across the board. Let's do the right thing. This is a great opportunity, and I support it. Thank you, Delegate. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Gentleman from St. Mary's.
We just had some conversations with the committee chairman, and I'd like to go ahead and withdraw this amendment.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Yes, ma'am.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.